This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, I'm Meteo Mundo Chief Meteorologist Rusty McCraney. Thanks for tuning in, checking out our latest video. We're going to be talking about what's happening across the tropics and then look at the potential rain across the Caribbean and the Bahamas as well. Start you off with this wide view. This is the satellite imagery here across the Atlantic Basin. Still have Hurricane Lee. We still have Hurricane Margot. And then this area of disturbed weather, which is more than likely going to develop into a tropical depression, eventually a tropical storm, and even a hurricane as we go over the next several days and into the weekend. We'll talk about how close it might get to the Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico coming up as well. Still going to be watching Hurricane Lee. That's moving up the east coast of the United States for you right now. As a matter of fact, can go on over and show you a little bit closer view of that satellite imagery. Again, Lee is still fairly impressive, moving up to the north at this point in time. It's beginning to interact with a frontal system in the northeast of the United States, so we're beginning to see the tropical characteristics of Lee kind of become a little bit more hybrid, especially on the northern side. We still have a good center of circulation, but we are beginning to ingest some dry air on the southwest side. So Lee, over the next 48 hours, is going to lose some of those tropical characteristics. Look, it doesn't mean that Lee is not going to be a powerful storm as it gets into the northeast. You can see that on the track for you right now. And again, basically moving due north at this point in time. Going to continue to weaken here, mainly a Category 1 as it moves up the United States East Coast. And then again, landfall this weekend, potentially on the coast of Maine, maybe even the eastern sides of Canada. But from Cape Cod north, we're going to see some 4-foot storm surges. So we are going to have a lot of water being piled up along the New England coastline because of Lee. We're also going to get some hurricane force wind gusts, if nothing else. So there is going to be deteriorating conditions and power outages with that wind is actually going to be a big story for New England and into eastern Canada over the weekend. So we're going to have to monitor that one for you pretty closely. Again, Lee, really nowhere near the Bahamas, moving away. That's great news. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to see some showers in the forecast for us here. Looking at the Bahamas, at least the opportunity for a few spotty showers. This is the actual live radar for you right now. A couple of showers off of the east coast of Florida. A couple of showers here just to the west of Andros and Andros Town. But again, it's pretty spotty in nature, looking pretty nice. Places like Nassau, I think, are actually going to stay basically dry for today, so that's great news. Let's zoom out again, show you the future track radar of Lee. This is the GFS model. You can see it continuing to move up the northeast coastline. And again, losing some of those tropical characteristics here as we get into Friday and Saturday. And again, landfall is likely either in Maine or in the eastern sides of Canada, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland over the early part of Saturday. But again, losing its tropical characteristics as it does so. Now, I want to take this imagery and zoom out for you here and look at what's going to be happening with that other system. I can actually swing on by. Actually, I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do was this. Give you a little bit better perspective, and then come over here. We're going to extend the time frame out all the way into early next week, so you guys can get a good idea of what this is going to do. We'll put that into motion. So I want you to notice I kept the area of potential development from the Hurricane Center in on this map, and then this is the GFS model, and you can see it is tracking along that line where the Hurricane Center has the potential development. Notice obviously by the end of the time frame it's getting a little bit more wrapped up, and as that model continues to go through its progression here towards the end of that time frame I told it to go, now you start to have a potential hurricane at the end of this red area here. And again, Nigel is the next named storm. The good news is for us here, though, I want you to notice how far away it is from the Windward and the Leeward Islands. Again, as we get out in time, we're going to more than likely have a hurricane, but this one is going to take an even quicker turn to the north and the west than what Lee did, so an even wider berth, if you will, from the Windward, the Leeward Islands, and Puerto Rico. Now, what's an area we might have to watch out for? Well, that could be potentially Bermuda. Bermuda is actually located right there, so we'll be watching for the potential for this next Hurricane Nigel swinging on over towards at least close to Bermuda as we get into the early part of the week. That was Lee moving on by. This is what would be Nigel, which would be again making a potential close approach, maybe just to the east of Bermuda as we get into mid next week. So that's something we'll have to monitor for our friends in Bermuda very closely. Elsewise, let's talk about the rest of the rain in the area. I'm going to take this model again and bring it just back down to what's going to be the next couple of days for for us here, and we'll put that back into motion. Again, outside of the two tropical areas that I've mentioned, I don't have a lot of rain as far as anything heavy, except for portions of the Dominican Republic, namely on the eastern side of Hispaniola here. You can see again when I zoom in, we're going to get some heavier rain, some of the higher terrain. Hispaniola is a very mountainous island for us here, and there's the opportunity for some heavier rain. It's a potential activity as far as some maybe localized flooding because of some of that heavy rain. It's going to be very isolated in nature, but that's an opportunity that's there. Scattered showers for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. It had been very wet there, but I do expect it to dry out. And it's the same thing for the Windward and the Leeward Islands, Montserrat and Dominica and St. Lucia. By the way, if there is a particular area that you'd like the forecast for, just drop it down in the comments section. Anywhere here in the Caribbean or the Bahamas, we got you covered. If you have a particular location you want to know about, maybe you're doing some cruising and you want to know what's going to be happening during that cruise, drop a line and let us know. And of course, like the video, subscribing helps us out greatly as well. Scattered showers down to the southern sides of the Windward Islands, Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago, and then on over towards Aruba. Again, not a lot of rain for places like Aruba and Curacao and Bonaire. A little bit better chance back into the northwest sides of the Caribbean. You're looking at Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, but everything is still pretty scattered in nature for us here. And speaking of maybe if you're doing some cruising to Nassau over the next 5 days, we're looking good the next couple days. I mentioned how I expect it to be mainly dry today and Friday. We'll pick up a few showers and storms Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. The boating forecast is getting better now that Lee is moving away. Those easterly swells will be subsiding, so the boating forecast of the weekend doesn't look bad. And for Nassau, New Providence itself, 30% chance for showers and storms on Saturday, a 40% chance for your Sunday and Monday. Have a great day, friends. If you like the content, please make sure you like and subscribe right here to Media Mundo.